Hey guys, welcome back to my love and hate series where I go over everything I love and I hate about something. And this is the hate video for backpacking in my 30s. So this video is going to be a little more difficult to do than the love because I actually really love backpacking. But there are some things that just, And I never do this in order, but the number one thing that I hate about backpacking in my 30s are stupid young backpackers. Now, I'm not saying that all backpackers are stupid. There's some amazingly bright and streetwise and just intelligent backpackers who I've had amazing experiences with. It's the stupid ones doing really dumb shit. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people buy drugs off the street, just some random guy, and I'm not condoning drug use, but these guys are just buying it out some random guy who doesn't even speak the same language. I've seen young ladies get blackout drunk in a group of guys that she doesn't know. I've seen backpackers pay ridiculous amounts of money for garbage from souvenir stands, and the list goes on and on and on to the silly shit that backpackers do. Now, I don't want to be too harsh because I understand that a lot of these kids haven't traveled before and it's their first time to get out in the world and experience life, and they have to make those mistakes. But from somebody on the outside looking in and watching this happen and knowing what the consequences are, it's really difficult. And it's difficult to keep my mouth shut on a lot of things. I've gotten a lot better to just let them make their own mistakes, but it's really hard to see because you know what's going to happen. You already kind of know the end game for them. So yeah, the number one thing, stupid backpackers. So the next thing is just dirtiness, just in general dirtiness. Now, I'm not like a spick and span kind of OCD person when it comes to cleanliness, but backpacking is filthy, like nasty. And not only is, I mean, just basic body odor that people don't even, like, how do you smell yourself? Like, do you really not smell that coming off your body? I don't understand it. I know there are cultural differences, but I'm like, yo, man, you're from Chicago, man. I know that's not culturally acceptable in Chicago to smell that way. So yeah, that out the gate. And then a lot of hostels just don't clean up. Like, and a lot of hostels are run by volunteers, so that's a big issue unto itself. But like, you go into the shower and the shower doesn't work because it's clogged up with 8 people's hair, or the scum on the walls, and the kitchens are absolutely filthy because people don't clean up after themselves. I have no idea what kind of household a lot of people grew up in, but it's you use a plate, you clean it. If you use a pot, you clean it. And it's like, it's crazy because so many people don't know how to cook. I was like, yo, man, if you don't know how to cook rice and you burn rice, stop fucking cooking rice. They make it instant now. You just drop a little bag in water, bloop, 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 bloop. 2 minutes later, you got rice. There's no need for it to be burned and nobody to clean up after you. All right, some of you guys are probably going to call me hypocritical for this, but this next one is the promotion of alcoholism. And I don't say promotion of alcohol, I say promotion of alcoholism specifically, because backpacking culture is one of alcohol. Everything out here revolves around alcohol. I stay in a lot of party hostels because I like to party. I like to meet cool people. And it's always a pub crawl. I stayed at probably one of the craziest party hostels in Krabi. You guys saw the video. Oh, actually, I didn't even do the video because it was so crazy. We started drinking around 6 p.m. and they were just giving everybody free shots. I think even before we went to the pub crawl, everybody had 8 shots, even before we went out. Alcoholism is a really big issue in backpacking because a lot of the people are underage. That's the thing. Underage, obviously, for Europe and the US is different. But for me, 18 and 19-year-olds shouldn't be getting blackout drunk. Like, it's not only is it dangerous, it's just irresponsible of establishments to keep promoting that. And you're creating a generation of alcoholics, and that carries its own issue. A glass of wine here, a beer in Germany here, like that's fine. But when you're promoting people to get blackout drunk, that's how accidents happen. That's why you go to places like Bali, you go to places like Thailand, Prague, parts of some Romania, all through the Balkans, Budapest. Like, you have people seriously hurting themselves because they were too drunk to walk down the street. Now, you see that as adults, you see it in Miami or New York. Us 30-somethings, we do that shit too. But my issue is with the backpacking community, as far as hostels, tour guides, and establishments and bars, mainly, and restaurants, taking advantage of the naivety of young backpackers and promoting alcoholism. This next thing is really a personal. Obviously, they're all personal, but this is the biggest thing for me. It's like, it's so fucking fake. It's so fake. Like, backpacking culture is not real. It's not a culture. It's manufactured and fake. I'm in Prague right now, which is one of the fakest places I have ever seen anywhere in the world. I mean, Prague is... I'm going to do a video. I promise you guys, I'm going to do a video about everything I hate about Prague. But my issue is that everything is cookie cutter all the way across. Like, you're not getting any real authentic cultural experience. Even the nightlife is fake because the hostels take you to the same bars that they're getting the kickback. So you're not going to where the locals go in Prague or Budapest or London or Berlin or Thailand or Bangkok. You're going to where that specific hostel has a relationship with the ownership to get a kickback. That's what it is. And backpacking is just promoted this way. I mean, the path is, in Europe, for example, you go Berlin and then you go over to Prague and then you go to Budapest or Vienna or vice versa. Like, it's a well-worn path and everybody knows it. So the fakeness, the fakeness of it really bothers. So to go along with the fakeness is this myth that travel makes you this super enlightened, better person, or is it going to change your life? All these fucking memes floating around. Man, I've said this before. Travel can change you, but I find that travel enhances your vices. So if you're an alcoholic, like I mentioned earlier, you're going to be an even bigger alcoholic. If you're an entitled asshole, you're just going to be a bigger entitled asshole because around the world, people just bow down to you because you have money. And this is, and I'm speaking really of Westerners, Americans, Canadians, Brits, even Aussies and Kiwis to an extent. Like, we come from very well-off societies. So when we show up in Central and Eastern Europe, we show up in Southeast Asia, we run shit and we do whatever we want. For example, in Thailand, backpackers can buy themselves out of anything. And what kind of president is that setting where a 19-year-old can buy himself out of an assault charge? Like, what kind of message is that sending to not only that kid, but the rest of the world around him? Well, the last thing for me, and I think this is just a me thing, just an Eric thing, is backpacking is boring. Like, traditional backpacking, hostels, going from one town to the next, for me, in my 30s, now mind you, if I was 25, I wouldn't be saying this, but now I've reached a point in my life where the backpacking thing just doesn't really hold that much appeal to me because I've done it so many times. I've experienced it. And even if I hadn't, it wouldn't be much to offer me because, again, I'm not drunk 24/7. And things become very transparent when you're sober. And you see how people try to manipulate and control the narrative of backpacking, where every town is the same. You know, I love Budapest, but Budapest does the same shit that Prague does, which I hate. And it takes you to go to a place like Berlin, which I think is one of the best cities in the world. Berlin, for us older backpackers or flashpackers to really have an experience backpacking. So anybody who's watching this video who's in their 30s or considering to backpack, places like Prague aren't necessarily for you. Koh Phi Phi in Thailand is not necessarily for you. These places are specifically designed and promoted for younger tourists. But if you go to a place like Berlin, if you go to Paris, if you go to Budapest to a certain extent, if you go to Sibiu in Romania, if you go to Penang. Penang's an excellent example in Malaysia. These are places where you can find different cultural food kind of activities that might appeal to your more mature sensibilities. And again, I apologize to my younger viewers. I am not bashing you, but you just got to understand that in 5, 6, 7 years, you are not going to want to be at a fucking pub crawl in Prague. I promise you that. So that was the top things that I hate about backpacking in my 30s. Now, make sure you guys go check out my Everything I Love About Backpacking in My 30s video to see that I'm trying to be as fair and balanced about backpacking as possible. Some things I love, some things I hate, but overall, I really, really do love backpacking in my 30s. I really enjoy it. But nothing's perfect. So again, make the world better than you found it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much. Make sure you comment below. Let me know what you think. Subscribe and share.